Good morning, ladies. I want to thank Femnet for this opportunity, for inviting me to speak to you, distinguished ladies. It is always a pleasure. I also want to thank Femnet for having the courage to have this conversation, because these are some of those uncomfortable conversations that women must learn to have. The ones that we are told we should not have, or we should not be involved in, the political conversations. And I want to thank Mildred and even to appreciate you for your courage, for your love and enthusiasm, even despite the challenge right now, that you are here to encourage us and to show us the resilience of women. I really want to thank you and to appreciate you. And of course, to all of you who have made it out here. And of course now, Mildred has ambushed me on this topic because I thought I was speaking about something else. But nevertheless, you know, I think when we speak about women, because we are women, then we know how to speak about ourselves. But I think that one of the things that is really the soul of women is in their resilience and their ability to come together. And I think that this is something that we must harness as women. We are so good at doing it socially. Women come together socially. You know, there is this saying that men like to put out there, and some of you actually agree with it. And I want us to disabuse ourselves of that phrase and that idea. And we must not repeat it when we hear it, and when we hear it, we must challenge it. And that is this phrase where they say, who knows it? Exactly, Winnie Maru there, our good member. Women are their own worst enemies. Now, this is not true. It is not true. And I will tell you, and I will show you why it is not true. It is not true because women have for the longest time known how to come together to support one another in times of need. Because of cultural exclusion and economic exclusion, women came up with models. Today, banks celebrate them. And they even call them, these products of theirs, they call them investment products. Sindio. But women were doing it a long time ago when, through merry-go-rounds and chamas, women were coming together and they were putting as little as 5 shillings in a pot so that this pot could go towards supporting one of their own, and it would go round, hence the merry-go-round. At no point were women saying, I'm not going to put my coin inside the pot because it is going to benefit Daisy. Because they knew at some point, that pot is coming round to me. When children are getting married, it is the women who come together. And they support one another to buy what is there, what is needed. When women are sick, when children are sick, when you are sick, who comes together? It is the women. However, because of the stereotype that we have been given, where when it comes to leadership, that is not the women's domain. Women have been socialized and trained to think lesser of women who aspire into political leadership. And so when women see women trying to get there, that old saying that says it is those women who are not good, those women who are kimbelembele, those women who are, not upright. Sindio? Hawa mama ni wa malaya, ni wa mama wabaya, ni wa mama ambaye hawaheshimu mabwana zao. Those are the things that we have been told, that it is those kimbelembele women, who go for leadership positions. Because leadership is for men. And so because of that, women don't know how to operate in that sphere. And some of us still find ourselves that way. And that is the truth. Because just like when you go to a doctor, you don't go and say, oh, I'm aching everywhere. You must say where you are hurting so that they can diagnose the problem. For us to get ahead, we must diagnose the problem, and we must be deliberate about how we challenge it and how we redress it. So this idea that women have been trained to think that they are not qualified for leaders. In fact, there are those who call it the impostor syndrome, because women are made to think they are not qualified enough. In fact, when you see, look at applications, how many women apply? And yet we have so many qualified women, but they are afraid to apply. Why? Because somehow women just feel like they're imposters. It's like you're going into a space that you're not supposed to be in, you know? But who said that that space is not ours? In fact, today, I want us to challenge that system that has decided that because of a lottery of birth, ladies, it is a lottery of birth. Who here signed up to be born as a woman? Hands up. So who here signed up to be born as a man? So who decided that they have more rights than women? They have more opportunities than women. It's systems. They create systems for exclusion. So we must choose to challenge that system that has given male dominance, preeminence, and that system that says that women have no right in the leadership sphere. How can we have no right in the leadership sphere? Yes, Winnie, I can see yours. I choose to challenge male privilege. That's what it's called, that male privilege. And no offense to you men, we are not saying that we want the men to stay back. You know, when you read the scriptures, I am a Christian. When you read the Bible tells us that when Yahweh created everything, he saw and he said it was good. And it was good, very good. But there is one place where he said it is not good. And that was to say, men, without women, you are nothing. Because he said it's not good for man to be alone. And we are saying it's also not good for men to be alone in that leadership sphere. Yes. It isn't. If Yahweh said it is not good for you, because he gave the call to dominate, he said, go forth and replenish and exercise dominion over the earth. And he gave this mandate to both man and woman. He didn't give it to the man alone, because he said, man, you can't be on your own doing this. So why are men saying that they want to be alone doing this? What system? That system, we must challenge that system, because it is the one that has given rise to this skewedness. So women's soul is in that being able to come together. But there are also some things that we need to learn as women. We also need to learn how to separate issues. And this is something that the men do very well. In politics, politics is about interests. Please understand me. While we know that leadership and politics is about who gets what, where, when, how, but primarily it is about interests. In Kenya, those interests have been framed around tribe, okay? Even now, even as we look at the BBI, debate, it's really about tribe, tribal grouping, okay? Now, tribes are patriarchal in nature, meaning that they accede to male privilege. So tribe will never coalesce around women. That is one reason why it becomes difficult for women to ascend within a tribal setting, which is why we push different angles. We have the 2/3 gender principle, because remember that the law is a tool for social change, okay? For instance, we know that there are parts of this country, if it was left to chance, women would never be elected no matter what. When we talk about our sisters in the northern part of Kenya, where the clans reign supreme, and those clans are dominated by men, and they are the ones who say, vile kutaenda. They dish out leadership positions on the basis of clans. So this clan will get this, and this clan will get that. And of course, the clan is never represented by women. But for the law, We have a constitution that says every county must elect a woman leader. So it doesn't matter what the culture and the elders are saying, you must elect a woman leader by universal suffrage. It doesn't matter what the culture is saying, at the county level, you must have a minimum of a third of the opposite gender. So, by law, contrary to culture, women are sitting in positions of leadership from those counties. In those county assemblies, women are sitting in. From those counties, women are sitting in the National Assembly. So the law is a very important tool in being able to redress many of the barriers that our sister showed us here. Okay? Now, as women, what are we doing about it? I would want to hear what our sister Juliet from the ORPP, the Registrar of Political Parties, is saying. But as women, how are we coming together for our interests? Okay? What are our interests? Your interests, by the way, are not represented by your tribal leaders. Do you understand this? It is 10 years post-promulgation of the Constitution. We have not even reached ground zero. A third is the starting point. Please understand what the two-thirds is. The not more than two-thirds gender principle is ground zero. That's where we are supposed to start from. To achieve that 50-50 that we are aspiring to in Vision 2063, that Africa will have 50-50 representation, we are starting at a third. Kenya, we have not begun the journey. Even though we have the highest number of women ever since independence, we have not begun the journey because we have not reached the minimum threshold. But why? Why haven't we reached this minimum threshold? One, because there's a lack of political will from the highest level, from the presidency. There is no will. And let me tell you what political will looks like. Have you seen how BBI is being pushed? That's what political will looks like. That when you want something or when something needs to happen, you make it happen. Okay? The law means nothing on the paper that it is written on until it is implemented. So if you want to see political will, so don't tell me, because I've been hearing women saying the president means well for us. No. He has demonstrated by his actions that he does not. Because we have seen when he wants, he railroads it. Nobody has railroaded anything because of women. But guess what? We have also allowed him to. We have allowed our political parties to do that. We have allowed our political leaders. And this is not reserved to President Kenyatta only. Even Raila Odinga, where in ODM do they have the two-thirds? Even Kalonzo Musyoka, where in Wiper do they have the two-thirds? Which political party, right now, as we speak, has a mechanism to guarantee two-thirds, not more than two-thirds? Is there any? Somebody said yes. Okay, she'll tell us. Yeah, okay, which one? A few not known. Yes. But what do? We follow. We follow after those ones and we dance. And let me tell you, that is our undoing. Okay? That is our undoing. Do you know why it is so easy to shortchange women politically? Because there is no political cost to shortchanging women. Do you understand what that means? Do you understand what I've just told you? Do you know what political cost is? Political cost means if I don't give you what I promised, I lose politically. Okay? Just a few years ago, Raila Odinga and Uhuru Kenyatta were at odds with one another, isn't it? This country was literally ablaze. Raila refused to recognize Uhuru's presidency. Not so? Said, you are illegitimate. His followers also said, you are illegitimate. And guess what? it became very difficult for him to govern the country. So what did he do? The political cost of continuing on that journey for him was very difficult. It was easier to do the handshake. And what did the handshake do? It calmed the Raila and his followers, but it also gave him the legitimacy he needed. That's what political cost is. So here we are women. We are over 50% of the population. We are a strong, solid bloc if we come together. We can determine who becomes president of this country. Actually, we can determine leadership at any level, okay? Yet, it is so easy for our political leaders to shortchange us. Why? Because there's no political cost. Uhuru refused to implement the two-thirds gender rule in his first term. What did women do? Organize and gathered to mobilize for him to be elected for a second term. So, why should he give you people what is rightfully yours? And please remember that it is not even him giving it to us. Women are inherently equal. The Constitution recognizes that. The non-discrimination clause is the one that says you must make sure that they are not more than two-thirds of the same gender. So when you go to a leader telling them, please give us, he can't give us. It's not his to give. But what he does by refusing to implement it is that he is exercising veto power over the Constitution and over our inherent rights. Do you understand that? Now, when that happens, you lose all the way. Because now we have been losing. You know, when he came into office, he was trying. He tried with cabinet. He tried, but he saw these women, they don't get it. They don't get it. We can shortchange them. And you know what? They did. By the time his second cabinet was coming around, cabinet is not compliant. Parliament is not compliant. It doesn't even have the cover of the law. Civil service is not compliant. Diplomatic corps is not compliant. Nothing is compliant. Yet, here we are. Women are not outraged. And we are saying women must lead. There must be a pathway for women to lead. There has to be a pathway, and we must follow it. To be able to bend that curve, we need to go 2 times faster. How are we going to go 2 times faster when we don't even recognize that we are being shortchanged all along? And that we are not coming together to bring our numbers together? Let me tell you, if as the women of Kenya we came together and we made a declaration, just one declaration, and say, we will not support the BBI, and we are not supporting any of these leaders. Maria Powerson is our presidential candidate. Yes. Do you know that they will pay attention? They will pay attention. But how many of us are willing to do that? How many of us are willing to separate issues? These men, these political leaders, they are not your husbands. They are not your sons. They are not your fathers. They are not your brothers. They are political leaders, and they operate on interests. How many times have you seen them even calling women to the table? Have you seen them? Have you seen women organizing around it? Do you think we're going to get anything? Do you think we're going to get anything? The same people who have denied you your inherent rights, do you think that they are going to give them to you now when you do nothing? In Iceland, there's the iconic meeting they had where all the women downed their tools. Are we able to do that? Are we? No, I mean, are we really able to do that? That's the thing. We must learn how to do that. And let me tell you, right now, the real threat of losing the two-thirds is, is real. It is real. Because once they open up the Constitution in a referendum, there are only 10 issues that go to referendum. Bill of Rights is one of them. That's why they've not been able to get rid of the two-thirds, because it is in the Bill of Rights. The one thing that you need to do to open up the Bill of Rights is to go for a referendum. And who has told you that they are not going to change things? Have you seen that the BBI changed? What was unveiled in Bomas changed? From what was unveiled in KICC? Who tells you they will not change it? Parliament is facing dissolution right now. Maraga, Chief Justice Emeritus David Maraga, gave us the political cost. He gave us the political cost, ladies. What have we done with it? Do you know what that political cost is? Do you know what it is? Somebody here, not from back here, somebody here, not Winnie, tell me, what is the political cost that Maraga has given us? Eh? So you know what the political cost is. The Chief Justice told the President to dissolve Parliament. Do you know that's a major thing? We are the only ones who have done anything about it. We've gone to court. We are trying, we're running a campaign, but it's been difficult. In fact, we had a meeting with Femnet. We actually said Parliament should be dissolved, but it didn't gain traction. Why are we not calling for the dissolution? Let me tell you, if Parliament is dissolved, it is game short. Women, it will never be shortchanged again. Do you understand that? And parliaments have been dissolved around the world. Egypt, their parliament was dissolved. Where else? I think Uzbekistan, their parliament was dissolved. Ukraine, their parliament was dissolved. This country is so steeped in impunity that even when an order is given by the Chief Justice, the President doesn't follow. Why are we not pushing for the dissolution of Parliament? Tell me. Tell me. Why haven't all the women joined together to say, yes, dissolve Parliament? We are not going to bend that curve. They are in the process right now of shortchanging us. How many of you have read the BBI? Which you are being told women's gains in the BBI. There are no women's gains in the BBI. They have removed 47 women from Parliament and from the National Assembly and taken them to the Senate. The National Assembly, where national budgets are held and debated, where they plan to take cabinet secretaries, cabinet ministers out of, they've removed the women. The way they have framed the two-thirds special seat members necessary to ensure not more than two-thirds of the members of Parliament are of the same gender. Parliament is a bicameral house. So they have taken the women to the Senate. When you say not more than two-thirds of the members of Parliament, it means they will count Senate and National Assembly. So you will still be thin in the National Assembly. They have put a sunset clause on both the Senate of the Parliament and in the counties. They've put a sunset clause for the two-thirds gender principle. Yet, the two-thirds gender principle is supposed to stand in perpetuity. As in, never again in the Republic of Kenya will there ever be, should there ever be, more than two-thirds of the same gender. So, don't believe it when they tell you that there are gains for you. There are no gains for you. There are apparent gains, but they are being taken away slowly. In fact, women are being erased, pole pole. Even where it worked, even the formula, the way they are saying it, the way it is being done, it's trying to remove the responsibility from political parties. It says, oh, women who have vied and lost are the ones to be given opportunity. Okay? When you recognize, Article 27(6) of the Constitution says that because of marginalization, there are things that women have suffered. We know economic marginalization. You showed us the barriers. One of it is economic hardship. Women don't have disposable income to run campaigns. So when you say that women will have to vie before they get the right to be nominated, you refuse to recognize that women, there are those women who do not have resources to run a campaign. And therefore, you begin to make leadership the preserve of the elite. Okay? That is what the colonial government did when they didn't want natives in. They put a criteria on who would qualify for leadership. You had to have a certain income to qualify for leadership. You had to have a certain level. You had to have been in leadership positions. So automatically, if you didn't have money, if you didn't have access to those opportunities, automatically you were cut out. It was made the preserve of the elite. And so when you say that women must vie to qualify for nomination, you negate Article 27(6) of the Constitution, which says affirmative action measures should be put in place in recognition of the discrimination and marginalization those groups have faced. So don't be deceived. You know they are counting on women not critically analyzing things. They have not even made it available for everybody to read. And I'm saying this because this is the biggest threat right now to women's gains and to the gains that we celebrate in the Constitution 2010. And remember that as soon as Justice Maraga gave the advisory for the dissolution of Parliament is when the BBI was released. So it was to shift people's attention from that weight. So he has given us that political cost. Why are we not running with it? Why are we not running with it? So when I talk about the soul of women is in their nature, their resilience, their strength, but also in their ability to be able to quickly organize. This is one thing I like about women. They're able to very quickly organize, and we've seen this. Short notice, you know, women are able to do so much with so little. We have so little time. We can do so much with it. But the first thing is, are we willing to come together? Are we willing to say, you know what? Let's break ranks. Let's break ranks. Let's break ranks with our political leaders. Let's break ranks with tribe. Tribe inatusaidia nini? Those tribes, there is no single tribe in Kenya that does not have an exclusion mechanism for women. Not a single one. Do you know of any? You are not discriminated on because you are a Kikuyu, or you are a Kalenjin, or you are a Luo, or you are Ndorobo, or you are Ma. You are discriminated against because you are a woman. All those tribes have discrimination mechanisms against women. So why? What is this Mtuetu syndrome that women galvanize around? It's easy. You see, it's easy to coalesce around tribe because the only thing I need to do is to be your tribe. I don't need to be anything else. But you see, even as a woman, even that tribe refuses to recognize you. How many council of elders have we seen endorse a woman? Eh? They will even go and get the worst possible man and make him the spokesperson of the tribe. And they will leave the women behind. So what are women doing running at TCG? You are supporting your political leader. Your political leader who has refused to support you. That's what politics is about. Why do you think they're having difficult time? Just in 2007, Uhuru Kenyatta and Ruto were not together, were they? By 2013, it was in their political interests to come together. What did they do? They came together and they made a political juggernaut and they said, my brother. Now, it is no longer politically expedient for them to become together. Now, are they calling each other brother? They have found new brothers. Why are we not able to do this as women? Why can't we say, my sister? Why can't Waithera leave Jubilee? And my sister Mweshimiwa, there. Why can't you leave ODM? And we say we come together as women. Why? Why can't we come together and say, dissolve Parliament? Why? Why can't we say, dissolve Parliament? The world will not end if we dissolve Parliament. Moi used to do it all the time. Moi would wake up, you know, there was a time Moi used to reign like a king. Parliament in Namsumba, they would wake up and find Parliament has been prorogued. That is to say, dissolved. And a snap election, 90 days, what wajipange. And remember, with the dissolution of Parliament, counties are still there. The executive is still there. So Kenya will not die. In fact, Kenya will probably be saved because this is the worst Parliament in the history of independent Kenya. Why can't we coalesce around the dissolution of parliament? Tell me. That must be the declaration of International Women's Day here in Kenya. Dissolve parliament. Follow through on Chief Justice Maraga's advisory, Mr. President, dissolve parliament. This is the same parliament that has taken us down the tubes, everything. They have failed. They are the ones who have approved those cabinet members that do not meet 2/3. They are the ones, by the way, they have helped in sabotaging the 2/3 gender principle. Yes. They pass everything, lakini when 2/3 come, they move away from it. And who has told you that BBI is going to bring anything better? The Constitution right now is the one that says 2/3. What stops them, again, from deciding it's not convenient? Why? And for how long will women continue to be foolish? The soul of women is that they are trusting, yes. But you know what? At some point, it is time kwerevuka. And so for me, I know I have completely deviated. We must challenge the system that imagines that women will continue to play this game. We must challenge the system that continues to shift the goalposts every time we are getting close. And we must demand for the dissolution of parliament. If we're going to bend that curve, we must demand for the dissolution of parliament. Let me tell you, if we come together and we make a declaration for parliament to be dissolved, even the president will call us. Yes. He will call us to the table. But parliament should be dissolved, because unless there is a political cost to shortchanging women, we are not going to break through. And that is where our numbers count. And because we are so good at coming together when we need to, I think it's time for us to come together around the issue of the dissolution of parliament. That will be such a game changer, and it will shift the balance completely for women. And then women, we will not be saying women must lead, we will be saying women are leading.